But Arnold always kept a few secrets up his sleeve. And one of his best kept secrets was his high protein mass gain diet. In the 60s and 70s era of bodybuilding, high volume, high frequency training was a staple method to stimulate muscle growth. Now, in order for them to recover from these brutal training sessions that sometimes lasted up to 3 to 4 hours at a time, high calorie, high protein diets were regularly consumed. Although there are many similarities in bodybuilding nutrition methods today, early on, the bulk of the foods used were very basic whole food sources that were found in most standard American diets. That's meat, eggs, cheese, milk, and grains. The key back then to optimizing this diet for muscle building was to consume large amounts of these whole foods. And that's exactly what most bodybuilders did back then, especially in the off season. Back then, it wasn't uncommon at all for guys looking to bulk up to consume 3,000 to 5,000 calories per day. In addition to these whole food sources, these bodybuilders regularly consumed foods that are not very common in most bodybuilding diets today. Foods such as butter, whole milk, and fatty ground beef. Now, diet information was very limited back then, and nutritional plans were very basic. Now, a big misconception many people have today is they believe that all the bodybuilders back then followed strict, low-carb, high-fat diets, which there's definitely some truth to, especially when we're talking about pre-contest or fat loss phases. But early on, when they were looking to really bulk up, or in between contests when they were looking to add mass, that's a completely different story. And the nutrition methods they used to accomplish this was very different from standard low-carb, high-fat diets. If you ever read Arnold's Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding and read some of his nutrition plans, or heard him talk about his diet in his interviews, you'll find that he did promote a very basic high-protein diet that was only moderate in calories, and nothing out of the ordinary. But like much of the info that we do have on Arnold, this information came from the time period surrounding his contest season, and much later in his career. But Arnold always kept a few secrets up his sleeve, and one of his best kept secrets was his high protein mass gain diet. This was the diet that he used early on in his career to build his massive base of muscle. If you look at photos of Arnold early on in his career, he wasn't the leanest bodybuilder by any means, and he actually resembled more of a powerlifter with his bulky appearance. So much so that when he came to America, the other bodybuilders actually nicknamed him Smooth because of his higher body fat percentage. Needless to say, however, what he lacked in the conditioning department, he made up in the mass department. At just 18 to 19 years old, he was outsizing seasoned competitors that were 10 to 15 years older than him. Now, Arnold's secret mass gain diet that he rarely spoke about publicly is exactly what we're going to cover in this video today. This diet adds up to just over 5,000 calories with around 300 grams of protein per day. To start the day at 7:30 a.m., Arnold would consume his first meal, which consisted of 3 whole eggs, 4 to 8 ounces of beef, 2 pieces of buttered toast, and 2 glasses of whole milk. Now, just a few hours later at 10 a.m., Arnold would consume a small snack of half a meat sandwich, 1 hard-boiled egg, and 1 glass of whole milk. Now, lunchtime was at 12:30. Arnold would then consume 1 whole meat sandwich, 1 cheese sandwich, 2 glasses of whole milk, and some fruit. At 3 p.m., Arnold would have his mid-afternoon snack, which was 1 hard-boiled egg, 3 slices of cheese, and 2 glasses of whole milk. Dinner time was at 6 p.m., and Arnold would start that off with 8 to 12 ounces of ground beef. In addition, he would have a baked potato with butter, a salad, and 2 glasses of whole milk. 3 hours later, Arnold would have his last meal of the day, which was his nighttime snack that consisted of his homemade high-protein shake. This consisted of 2 glasses of whole milk, half a cup of non-fat milk solids, 1 whole egg, and he would top it off with half a cup of ice cream. Now, needless to say, this meal plan was a ton of calories, and most guys back then didn't really track calories or macros. But if we were to plug this into a macro calculator today and estimated the portion sizes of the fruit, the butter, and other meals on this diet plan, the calories would come out to exactly 5,300 calories per day, with approximately 300 grams of protein, 350 grams of carbohydrates, and 300 grams of fat. Again, these are based on closely estimated serving sizes. Now, Arnold was always very vague when it came to his nutrition and training recommendations, which always led to many people believing that he's either lying or just spreading misinformation. But if you go back and look at how his physique evolved over the years, from starting out looking like a fully bulked up powerlifter to eventually achieving one of the most aesthetic physiques of all time, you can see how his method in the beginning was not necessarily to look like Mr. Olympia right out of the gate, but to pack on as much muscle mass as possible and then over the years, consistently refining that physique to build his classic Mr. Olympia physique. And although maybe he did go overboard in the beginning with 5,000 calories, and many people might not necessarily require that much to grow, except for severe hard gainers and very skinny guys, but most guys who are very skinny looking to gain more mass can definitely benefit from going through a period of time where they really push their body weight up through nutrition and hard training, and then follow that similar process of continuously refining it over the years. Now, if you're someone who's looking to build more mass using proven old school bodybuilding methods, I recommend you check out my latest program, the Bodybuilding Diet ebook and audiobook. This will help you fully understand how to set up the ideal nutrition plan to aid in both your muscle building or fat burning goals. For more information, visit all the links below. And as always, if you guys want to see more of the best original bodybuilding content just like this, make sure to hit subscribe.